Hello, good evening, welcome. Modulate TV 3. Has it really been 3 weeks since the last one? I guess it must have been. So we're still in lockdown, we're still all here, shut away in our little rooms, but we're making music and we're trying to bring it through the internet to you, through Facebook or YouTube or wherever you're watching this. So thank you for joining us. I hope there's something on here that you'll enjoy tonight. I'm sure there is. We've got a collaborative piece tonight, so obviously this is coming from Modulate North Wales, and we've also got Modulate Brighton who are joining us tonight as well. And I think there's 4 tracks from Modulate Brighton a little bit later on, and we've got an interview with Graham from Modulate Brighton and Rob from Modulate North Wales, just talking about the 2 different organisations and how we're bringing people together to make music and bring a little bit of enjoyment and life to the people around us, hopefully, with the stuff that we're doing. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick off by going across the ocean. We're going to go to Scott Matoya, who is in Southern California. Scott's one of these amazing sort of genius people, really, and you'll see that when you start to listen to this track. He's a synthesist, he's an experimenter, he's a software developer, he's a visual creator, and what he does is he looks and finds the hidden symphonies that are all around us, that are locked away in the mundane artifacts of daily living and consumerism. And then he uses his custom-built controllers, yes, made by himself, modular synthesis and algorithmic processes to capture and manipulate the reappropriated data into intricate soundscapes. I won't pretend I understand all that fully. However, what he's created is truly, truly beautiful. He's got some more stuff on Bandcamp. He also has software projects on GitHub, so please do take a look at that. But I think you'll really enjoy this, and this is just amazing from Scott Matoya. Scott Matoya there. I told you that was good. It really was quite amazing. And just to add to it all, Scott is actually currently designing a range of boutique Eurorack modules. Well, if you can, why wouldn't you? So anyway, on to another part of the world. We're going to move down to Australia now to a chap called Mark Arena. Mark has been making music for a long time, but hasn't performed anything for 16 years. So this is something very new for us to be able to hear, and something new for Mark for the recent times. But Mark was saying this is part of a concept album that he's actually trying to develop at the moment, and it's taken him about 6 months to get back into the swing of making music again. And most of this is done using the Electron Octatrack and also the Electron Digitact. And what he was saying is that he's sampling an awful lot of vinyl to pull into this, and this is what this is mostly created out of. Anyway, take a listen. I thought it was just astonishing. Mark-Arena, that really was amazing, considering that's 16 years since you've done your last live performance. I think that has to be applauded. That was superb. Mark also mentioned that obviously he has also sequenced in some synth and some bass lines in there himself, but also that he actually sampled his friend's 4-track and placed that in there as well, and you can really hear some of those vintage sounds coming through. So next up tonight, we've got a Modulate classic. It's Dave Julian. Always a great show when we got Dave Julian on. It's a little bit of a departure for Dave. So normally we would see Dave playing the keys, and this is a different way of doing things tonight for him because he's sequenced everything instead. I did spot the Moog Sub 37 at the front there, which obviously you're sequencing from something, but also he's using some new equipment. So he's got a new drum machine, which is the Jomox, and he's tailored all of the sounds and patterns within that. And this is all just running on one 2-bar drum pattern. He's also got a bass line through Fusion Box, which Dave said was a little bit tricky to record, but there we go. You don't notice it at all, Dave. This is yet another superb song from you, so thoroughly enjoyed it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Dave Julian. Dave Julian. Dave, I like your departure. This is really right up my street. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So thank you very much. More of that for me, please. So we're going to move on now. We're going to have a quick interview. So I chatted the other day with Rob Dixon from Modulate North Wales and with Graham from Modulate down in Brighton. We had a lovely chat about the two different organisations, how the collaboration started and the different work that both organisations do. So we're going to take a look at that interview now, and then we're going to follow straight into a song from Sword Swinging Robot. Now this is actually a collaboration, Sword Swinging Robot and Sean Jones. So Sword Swinging Robot, Matt Garnett, wrote this song last June for an Only Human night, but he said he wasn't quite happy with the bass in it, so he got involved with Sean, and that's how they put this together as a collaborative piece. So I hope you enjoy that. Well, watch the interview, listen to the song, and I'll speak to you again in a minute. So when did you first start thinking about forming the Modulate group, and when did it actually turn into something?
Yeah, so probably about 5 years ago, I was starting to think that on the hospital ward, we needed a bit more music. We needed a bit more ability for our patients to get involved in stuff. So initially I was thinking about setting up a DJ group, try and get people like Fatboy Slim, fellow Brightonian, to sort of come along and do some tuition or something. But that took a little while to come to something. And then it was only sort of last September, October that a number of things came together. So conversations with some of my colleagues, nurses and healthcare assistants and a fellow doctor, that kind of, everybody was sort of on the same page and thinking that we needed to do this.
We probably should explain, Graham, as well, that you are a doctor of psychiatry. You weren't trying to do this in an A&E ward or anything like that. So, yeah, so we probably should make that clear right from here. Sorry, go on.
But I work on an acute mental health ward, so it's a male. We look after 20 male inpatients. So, people stay on the ward for somewhere between, sometimes like a week and then sometimes months. So there's lots of time that people have, as part of their recovery and being on the ward. So we kind of, people get really bored on a hospital ward, so, and there were more and more patients coming through who were interested in electronic music, who, we might talk about electronic music. They had their own synthesizers. Maybe they didn't want to bring them into the hospital, but, music sort of began to be a way of helping with the rapport with patients.
Yeah.
So we had these conversations, and then I watched Jeremy Deller's documentary, Everybody in the Place, which I totally recommend to everybody. And it all just kind of came together. And so we started to set up the group, but we needed equipment. So I started on Twitter posting stuff about how we needed, we wanted to set up this music production workshop on the board. And people just started giving us equipment, which was...
Wow. So Rob, take us a little bit through how your Modulate's set up, and how bizarre that we've got two Modulates opposite ends of the country.
I know. Yeah, so in terms of the North Wales Modulate, if you like, so we're in different coasts and different countries in north and south. So Modulate came about just through a desire to want to put on an electronic music night and not really knowing how to go about it. Interestingly, kind of with what Graham's talking about, mental health was a big feature a bit for me. It was about getting out there and doing this stuff and not being stuck at home creating with no outlet for it, and actually it being positive for mental health to actually get out there and meet like-minded people. So we put on a night. You performed at the first one. I think you played the first set at the first.
I did.
The first Modulate, and we just swayed you dead right, who founded Oscilloscope, to come along and perform as well. And Oscilloscope's another fantastic little music night in North Wales. That must shout out. And yeah, we just put it on and said, okay, let's play some music live and see what happens and see if anybody comes.
And if I remember rightly, that night Matthew Garnett also turned up, came over and said, I haven't played live for a while, that's inspired me, I'm going to start doing that again. And I remember condescending to him slightly and saying, well, you should really try, Matt, absolutely. And I had no idea how amazingly good he was, and felt a right fool afterwards when I actually saw him play. And it was also Matt Siddall's first night that he came to see us as well, and we had Matt play on the show last week. He did our final number last week, which we've had so many comments about how astonishingly good it was.
Yeah.
It really was amazing. And that was Matt's first night of ever being inspired to actually try and do something like this.
No, exactly. And I think a lot of people kind kind of felt inspired by it and maybe had lacked the confidence to do this kind of thing before. And actually, the thing about Modulate for me is having that environment where people can play live for the first time and actually take that first step in going, okay, I produce this stuff at home, I like it, the wife and kids hate it, but maybe someone else out there might like it. And Modulate gives us that environment, doesn't it? We're all quite geeky and quite into our gear and different bits, but actually it's a really safe environment where you can come and perform and be supported by the community.
great to hear a lot of positivity about supporting mental health there from both Modulate North Wales and also Modulate Brighton in what is, of course, Mental Health Awareness Week. So great to keep that high on the agenda there, guys. Sword Swinging Robot and Sean Jones, wonderful stuff. Really, really enjoyed that again. So now we're going to move... Oh, good Lord. We're going to move on. It's me. I'm sorry about that. So we've now got Citizen Fly with me fiddling about on my Akai Force. that was me. Let's move away from that as quick as we can. On to Etch-a-Sketch. Fantastic stuff. This is Rob Dixon, the founder of Modulate North Wales. And this is a slight departure for Rob as well. We had a departure from Dave Julian earlier on, but Rob's going to be using the Moog Subharmonicon, which is a beautiful new Moog synth, which I'm sure you've seen out there. So this is a really hypnotic 4-note sequence which loops in and out at different speeds as the subharmonics weave their way in and out of the pattern. Hard to explain really until you actually hear this thing mooging along to itself. And the Moog is actually running through all the effects section of the modular setup that Rob has, which we normally see Rob playing. So that's adding in the reverb, the chorus, the delay, all over the top of the mix. Anyway, let's have a listen. It's really, really beautiful. What did I tell you? How nice does that Moog sound? It's a beautiful synth. Mind you, it does help if you actually know how to use it as well. And Rob, you're a master at these things. That sounded absolutely amazing. So we're now going to move on to the Modulate interview part 2. So we're going to be just listening to a little bit from Graham just about the Modulate tracks that were coming up from the Brighton crew down there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mix straight into Graham's song, which is called Timidation, which again, the talent that's behind some of these songs is quite astonishing. When you see the amount of equipment that Graham's using in this and the skill that goes into it, I'm sure you'll agree. Anyway, please enjoy the interview and then enjoy the song, and we'll speak again soon. So obviously for a lot of people watching tonight, I mean, I'm sure there's people who've been following you guys who are going to be joining us tonight, but a lot of the people who are here tonight have been following Rob's Modulate. So could you take us through just a little bit about what we're expecting out of the people that you've brought along tonight?
Yeah, so you've put us to the test, really, with the idea of kind of doing some live jams. We've got a few of us who've decided to do something. Some of it's still a mystery to me, what my colleagues are doing. But I know one of the guys, Alessandro, he's a psychiatrist locally. He's a classically trained guitarist, but he's really into making dub music. So he's got something going on. He uses a Waldorf synth as well, and some Ableton software and MIDI controllers. Giles usually makes, I think, he's got some synths, and uses, I think he uses virtual synths quite a bit as well. So but I think he's got some kind of modular box, so he's experimenting with, and he's done a little set. I tried to put something together. I think I'm still, learning how to use my gear slowly, the little bits of time that I get. So I put a track together. And Simon, I think, is looking to try and use his Buchla. He's got a Buchla, the name of it, I think. Yeah.
Nice.
He's been working on like a generative thing, but I don't know if that's what he's doing for this one. So yeah, they're keeping me guessing as well, some of the guys. So there's, I think, probably going to be a couple more too.
Well, that's very exciting. We're really looking forward to listening to some of the music that's come from there. So we've got a really great eclectic mix of music that we've brought from North Wales, from down on the south coast for tonight, which is just brilliant. And it's nice to get that real mix. And it's also nice to get the two groups mixing together and get like-minded people starting to work together. And hopefully this is something we can carry on for the long-term future.
Say something special there that you have not said before.
Really lovely song there from Graham. Really thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much. We've got 3 more songs coming up now from the Modulate Brighton crew. So first up, we've got Alessandro Colasanti. So Alessandro is a member of the psychedelic jazztronic dub Italian trio band Basement. Try saying that after 3 Bacardi and Cokes and a porn star martini. So he is the guitarist in that. And in this video here, which to me has got a real experimental feel to it as well, which I really, really like, we'll see the bass station Mark 1 being used in here. There's a Waldorf Micro Q. He says there's also some tape echoes and spring reverbs in there, and a little bit from Ableton to help around the mixing of things. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. Oh, and also I spotted a Roly keyboard in there as well, which is the first time I've seen somebody using one of those in these videos, and it's great the expression you can get out of those keyboards. Anyway, watch and enjoy. Alessandro, that was absolutely lovely. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much indeed. So we're going to move on to our next artist from Modulate Brighton, and that is Giles Allen. So Giles is a doctor, a Jungian, and an EMDR therapist, but also a producer of tech house and various forms of electronica. He's also the co-founder of Carbon Logic. So lots of nice pieces of hardware being used in here. I love looking at pieces of hardware and just seeing how they're being used. So there's a Coma Field FX, there's a Korg MS-10, there's a Korg Mini Chaos Pad, there's a Teenage Engineering PO12, there's a Vulcan Modular, there's also an Arturia BeatStep Pro in there as well, all used with absolute precision and brought together with delightful artistry by Giles. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I know you will too. Lovely stuff. Really enjoyed that, Giles. Thank you very much indeed. So we're going to move on now. Where's the time gone? It's our last song of the evening. It really has gone so quick. Anyway, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope you have. And we've got a real unusual piece to end the evening on, which is from Simon James from the Modulate Brighton crew again. So when I say it's unusual, it's just a real good use of the architecture of sound. So Simon works with sound, and that will become kind of obvious as you see this piece. So he produces podcasts for clients, and he's been making radio drama and features for nearly 20 years. But he also does a lot of sound art, where he works with architecture and field recordings, and uses unconventional microphones to try and capture the hidden sounds in the environment around us. And he has an album and a book coming out about electromagnetic sounds that are recorded in Shenzhen, China a couple of years ago. He also gets asked to do synth programming for other people, so he does TV and film stuff too. And he's also, if that wasn't enough, got an album coming out on low later this year. So this is just amazing, a real bit of a sound architecture in there, some beautiful pluck strings in there, amazing stuff, and using a huge modular setup with wires that's just confused me. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'll speak to you straight after this just to say our goodbyes, but please enjoy Simon James. quite awesome stuff there. Simon James, thank you so much. I'm always in awe of anybody who uses modular equipment like that. It really is quite amazing, and it does astound me sometimes, the noise that can be created, or the sounds that can be created out of that highly complex looking equipment. Anyway, most enjoyable, as has been the rest of this evening. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves tonight too. I'm just going to say a quick thank you and shout out to all of the artists who've played for us tonight. But just first of all, thanks again to Rob Dixon for all he does to organise this. Thank you so much to Matt Garnett, who put together all the graphics. He does all the editing. He does all the hard work behind that. And thank you so much to Graham and the Modulate crew in Brighton for joining us tonight as well. It's been brilliant to have your collaboration, and so nice to get to know you guys as well. What a really nice bunch of people you are. So anyway, let's give a quick shout out to everybody who's played tonight. So first of all, we started off in the USA with Scott Matoya, and then we moved down to Australia, where we had Mark Arena with his first performance in 16 years. Then we moved back into the UK, and we had Dave Julian playing with that beautiful new drum machine, the Joe Mox. Then we went on to Sword Swinging Robot, who was having that collaboration with Sion Jones. Then, unfortunately, it was me, Citizen Fly. Moving straight on, then we had Etch a Sketch, which was Rob Dixon, obviously. Then from there, we moved down to Brighton, where Graham gave us his really lovely song, Timidation. And then we moved on to Alessandro Colasanti, who is in that, I'm going to see if I can say it again, member of the psychedelic jazztronic dub Italian trio band Basement. Oh, nearly not quite as good as last time. But again, it was a superb song that we had there from Alessandro. Giles Allen, again, a lovely piece of music. And then we finished off with Simon James on that amazing modular setup. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much to all the artists for putting in so much effort and putting together those pieces for us. We hope to see you again in probably about 3 weeks' time. Enjoy yourselves, stay safe, and look after one another.